All right. Shalom. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rekha HaKodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who does lead and rule well. I want to say salutations and shalom also to you, Akim, that's pushing out this word in truth and in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And sincere shalom also to you, Akim and Akwaf, that's listening and learning, preparing ourselves here in these last days. That is to the entire household of faith that's fighting this good fight of faith. And to you all, I want to say again, shalom. This is your brother Daquar from the DC camp. Come back at you another lesson. And I'm entitled this one, Message to the Proselyte. That old man won't be tolerated. All right? And as you can see on the screen, it talks about putting off that old man and putting on a new man. And it has characteristics of the old man. You know, pride, carnality, rebellion, childish thinking, stubbornness, old habits, lust, just things that, that you will be doing in the world as your old man before you were illuminated and found out this truth and, started to grow. All right. And then you got the characteristics of a new man when you become a new creature. You being separate, holy, being obedient, disciplined. One of the things that's not on here is humility, spiritual maturity, renewed mind, which encompasses that. But, the Rosh Kasab, he had just did a lesson on humility. That is a video brothers should watch. Where that joint at? Right here. It's a beautiful video right here. GMS Custos by a mouth. All right. But anyways, let me first get the definition of a proselyte. All right. And then I'll get into some scriptures, man. It says the basic definition of a proselyte is a person who converts from one belief system, religion, or way of life to another. And that's what we've done when we came into this truth. We are way different than Christians, man. We are way different than just niggas in the world. Because being an American, being a nigga, that is all, it's essentially a religion, man. It was something that was cultivated in you. You were taught these things. Like the scriptures say, train you up a child in the way he should go, and when he's older, he shall not depart. But we departed from that. We was supposed to depart from darkness. As you can see on the screen, you got darkness and you got the light. Well, you got some people that's working the works of darkness, and then you got us that's working the works of light to the best of our ability, being the lights of the world, right? So it's somebody, in our terms, it's somebody that comes into the truth, and you begin learning the ways of and the laws of the Most High and His commandments, man. Knowing how to walk in the Spirit, knowing how to walk in faith, And the etymology of the word comes from a Greek word, one who has come over, a newcomer, who has joined. Now, here's the thing. I said the old man won't be tolerated, because in the Christian world, they say that come as you are, and stay as you are. Now, we have all, this is not us acting like we're perfect. We all falling short of the glory of the Most High. We all came into this thing as an old man, But again, that's why I think that video with the Rosh Kasab is fire, because it talks about humility, and I'll salute a lot of us. We talks about doing this thing in sincerity, So you have to, excuse me, you're choosing to live another way, man, once you do this thing, man. And that means you got to humble yourself, You desire to walk in the truth so you can no longer walk that form of life that you did, man. You must learn new habits, all right? You must you got to accept the new understandings, man. Being born again, it's a discipline, a new discipline, And that's what the disciples were. The disciples turned apostles, man. They had to go through a learning and a growing experience, man. So again, it's a new person. Essentially, it's a new person that comes to the truth, man. But you gotta put off that old man. You gotta learn righteousness. You gotta develop discipline and renew your mind, man. Because we once knew these things. Again, these things were taught to us. The Lord cultivated us, and this is why He likened us to that garden, man. And what else should He not do to that field, man? And we became wild olives, man. But you got to grow from a child. Excuse me. You got to grow from a child in the spirit. You got to grow, have spiritual maturity. And so, like again, I'm like last week, I'm at work, so I don't have my garment. But I wanted to do this video. So, man, when somebody comes into this truth, man, it's more than just you learning new information and you like it. And the scriptures talk about being rooted. Let me get that real quick. Matthew the 13th chapter, when it talks about the seed. Because you got some people that they hear the word, right? And they receive it with joy. It sounds good. We the chosen. You got new information. All right? But it's deeper than that, man. The Lord requires us to transform. Because it said what? You endure for a while. But then when, this is Matthew the 13th chapter. I'll get it real quick. But he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it. Yet he hath not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, by and by he is offended. Now, some people get offended by, they feel like they're being persecuted by the brethren when they're being corrected. But that's that type of pressure. It's really just warring against your old man that you're supposed to be putting away. You got that, and this is why we just had the Passover. You got that leavening, you got pride. The first one on the list, and again, the Raj Kasap, he always saying that's what the leaven is pride. You got this type of attachment to the world. You got this comfort that you still want. You got to be able to put these things off, man. And when it's talking about having no root, some of it is conviction, true sincerity, true fear of the Lord. What's your priorities, man? What's your lifestyle like, man? And you can go through tribulation like you lose or you fall off with family members, friends, a woman, you got to change your lifestyle. Again, we go to camp on Saturdays. Sometimes we do Wednesdays, right? We do classes. You got high holy days. You got Sabbath services. All right, you got to do videos. That requires sacrificing parts of your life, man. You got to have discipline. You got to give up worldly habits. If you're not willing to do that, you're not going to survive, man. And that's going to cause, when it says offend, that's going to cause a lot of people to stumble, to fall away, man. You're going to withdraw. You're going to go back to your old man. And so that's what happens, man. All right. Now, again, this is necessary because the scriptures talk about how the Lord is too holy that he can't behold wickedness. This is why we needed a mediator. So we understand, and it's just like when people say that Yahushua, he dwelt amongst sinners. Well, yeah, we were sinners, but we're not willfully sinning. There's a difference. They think that means you can go amongst the most filthy people. No, we are commanded to be holy, man. Okay? That's what it's talking about. So it's bigger than learning just new information, man. That's not enough. All right? The Lord requires more than just the knowledge of him. Guess what? He requires us to transform. Right? it talks about being renewed in our minds. Because a lot of people, they want the promises, right? They want the good things that come with being a man of the Lord, a Hebrew Israelite, or a prophet. But they don't want to put away the old man. Well, if that's the case, just go with ISUBK, because they accept niggas. You know? IUIC going to accept any type of Jake, man. You know? So if that's what you want, then go with that. But we must uphold the standard. You know? A lot of people want salvation, but you don't want to change that mindset, man. You want to keep the same habits, the same spirit, and that's just not going to cut it, man. You're not going to be able to inherit the kingdom like that. Scriptures say that, and I'm gonna get these scriptures. I'm just, summarizing in the beginning, man. The old man is not going to be able to walk in the spirit, man, and you can't please the Most High. The old man must die. That's just what it is, and that's why I said it won't be tolerated, man. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get into these scriptures that I had listed. All right. This is John 3, verse 3, and the heading says a new birth. It says, Yahushua answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of the Most High. All right. So you have to be born again, because who we were is not going to cut it, man. That nigga mentality is not going to cut it. That nobody can tell me shit, not going to cut it. Thinking you tough and no, that's not going to cut it, man. That's not how men deal, not men of the Lord. All right. It says, Nicodemus saith unto him, How can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? That's he wasn't thinking spiritually. It says, Yahushua answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of the Most High. Yahushua. So you got to be born of water and the Spirit. And it starts with the word, man. It starts with this word. That's all it is, man. And you need both of these things. It's a spiritual washing, man. You clean, the scriptures say you're clean through the washing of the word. That's going to clean your mind of that old man, man. All right. Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed to how does it go? Roughly paraphrasing, by taking heed thereunto into the word or something like that, in Psalms. And then the scriptures talk about giving us a new heart, man, walking in the Spirit. Anyways, I think did I want that? Oh, I'm going to get one more verse. It says, verse 6, John 3 and 6, it says, That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. All right, so which man are you? Have you been truly born again? Because without that, you're not going to make it, man. You can't be in the flesh, right? And think you're going to make it. The flesh is going to produce fleshly things. The Spirit is going to produce spiritual things, man. And a lot of people, they try to mix the two. They want to bring this flesh, that same man, into this truth, and it just doesn't work like that, right? The scripture says that wisdom is not going to dwell in a malicious soul. It doesn't work. The old man is corrupted. It wars against the Spirit. All right. So you're not setting yourself up for success if you're trying to do these things. Ephesians 4, and I'm gonna start at 22. It says, the heading of this, starting at the 17th verse, is the Christian's walk, and the word Christian just means anointed. The anointed ones. That's what we are. I'm gonna start at this whole chapter is good, but matter of fact, I'm gonna just go ahead and start at 17, okay? It says, this I say therefore and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk, in the vanity of their minds, having the understanding darkened. Remember that, them walking in the darkness, being alienated from the life of the Most High through the ignorance that is in them, because the blindness of their heart. You see, who being past feeling have given themselves over into lasciviousness, to work all uncleanness with greediness. But ye have not so learned Hamashiach, if so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Yahushua. And you being taught by the Lord when brothers is teaching you, man. Don't think that just because we just regular men on the earth. Listen, these men on the earth that's teaching you these things is inspired by the Lord, just like the men that wrote these scriptures, man. You know, these are the words of the Lord, man. You know, and if multiple brothers is telling you something that is spiritual men, you know, spiritual men judges for all things, right? Then you might want to take heed to that, right? It says that ye put off, verse 22, that ye put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lusts, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. And that ye put on the new man, which after the Most High is created in righteousness and true holiness. All right. And that's what you see on the screen, man. You're putting off that old man and putting on a new man, which is what it said, that's created in righteousness and true holiness. It says, wherefore putting away lying, you ain't supposed to lie to brothers. You know, speak every man truth with his neighbor, for we are members one of another. You know, yeah, we all helping each other, man. You know, it says, be ye angry and sin not, let not the sun go down upon your wrath, neither give place to the devil. And then it's just going into more characteristics, these fleshly characteristics, man, of the old man. Salakia. I don't know if I got like allergies or what, you know. Anyways, this is Romans 8 and verse 7. Well, it makes you want to read the whole thing. I'm going to start at 5. It says, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against the Most High, for it is not subject to the law of the Most High, neither indeed can it be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please the Most High. All right. So if you're in the flesh, you're not going to be able to please the Most High, man. Because it's that enmity with him. You know? What is this? Yeah. Verse 9, it says, but ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit, if so be that the spirit of the Most High dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the spirit of Hamashiach, he is none of his. And if that's the case, then you're going to be casted, you're going to be spewed out. The Lord going to take the candlestick away from you. That's why the scriptures, and during the Passover, you're supposed to be examining yourself, man. Whether you be in the faith, whether the Hamashiach be in you, right? So the old man is hostile towards the spirit, man. That's why a lot of people resist that discipline. Remember, it says wisdom is going to try you by crooked ways, man. A mighty stone, a mighty trowel, you know, and see if you're going to cast it off. Because you know what? The people that do that, they want comfort more than correction, man. You know? But again, this old man, it has to be crucified, man. I think, yeah, it's Romans again. Romans 6, and I'm going to get straight to it. Romans 6:6, it says, knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin. For he that is dead is freed from sin. Now, if we be dead with Hamashiach, we believe that we shall also live with him. And that's what makes it worth it, man. Some people, they want to still live this life like they're losing out on something, you know. But We know that if we're dead to this world, then guess what? We believe we're gonna reign with the Lord. All right. This is Galatians. Because this goes into the works of the flesh and the spirit. But I'm gonna go ahead and get to the point. But if you listening to this, man, if you need this message, read the entire chapter. Galatians 5 is talking about walking in the spirit. Now, again, it's going to lay out some of the characteristics of the works of the flesh, and then, it talks about the spirit, the works of the spirit. It says, Galatians 5:24, it says, and they that are Hamashiachs have crucified the flesh with the affections and the lust. If we live in the spirit, let us also walk in the spirit. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another. I think I wanted to get that word. Affections goes into passions, but I wanted to see something. What was that? Galatians 5:24. Give me a second here. I wanted to see what it says. Yeah, it says, and of an inward state and affection or a passion. Yeah. So you got to crucify that stuff, man. That old stuff, man. And it's not comfortable, and it's not even quick. All right. But it is death, and it has to happen. The old man must be put away daily, man. He got to be put to death daily, because we still in the flesh. So these things is gonna constantly keep trying to arise. But are you trying to fight it, or are you not? If you're not, then that's the stuff that's not going to be tolerated. That's where the sincerity comes in. You're not. We can't walk as children anymore when we in this truth, man. As a matter of fact, that's 1 Corinthians 13 and 11. It says, when I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. All right. So you got to put away childish things, man. We got to become men. It says in malice be ye children, but in understanding be ye men. And the younger men, not all, but certain proselytes. So I use that word, and this is a lamb back off of my elder Zion Allah. He do the message to the young man. But yeah, some people, when you coming in, you might struggle with these emotional reactions, and like Ralph Kassav says, you can have emotion, but how do you react to it, man? Are you going to exhibit pride when you have a correction? The scripture says you need patience. We have needed patience. Are you going to be impatient? You lacking discipline, being unstable in your thinking? And that's what children is. That's what characteristics of children. That's what it says in Ephesians 4 and 14. It says that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. So children are tossed to and fro. Now, in that chapter, it talks about how the Lord gave the apostles, the prophets, evangelists, and pastors, the brotherhood for that building up. So you will do yourself a disservice if you don't want to listen to these men. He gave these certain men these different gifts, and he put them through certain lessons to be able to teach you. That's why it says they're supposed to do this with joy and not with grief, because that's unprofitable to you. Okay? So Children are unstable. Men are more established. They're more rooted. Okay? And that's why hey, when you're a babe, you need milk, man. And you're not able to deal with the strong lust. I mean, I said the strong meat. You know? But anyways, so focus is becoming a new creature, man. 2 Corinthians 5. This is 2 Corinthians 5 and 16. It says, wherefore, henceforth, know we no man after the flesh. Yea, though we have known Hamashiach after the flesh, yet now, henceforth, know we him no more. Therefore, if any man be in Hamashiach, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. Simple and plain. You know, your reactions, the way you used to react to certain things, that has to pass away. All right, your speech, it will change when you're dealing with brothers, man. You can't be talking to brothers like they niggas on the street, because we ain't that. If your mind was being transformed, then your speech, your behavior, these things will be transformed too, man. If you've been in this thing, been listening for a year, been you know, you will learn certain things. Your behaviors would have changed, man. You know, your desires, old desires, I would say, must pass away, man. You know, this is Colossians 3, and it says, put on a new self. I'm gonna start at 5. It says, mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanliness, inordinate affections, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry, for which things sakes the wrath of the Most High cometh on the children of disobedience. The same children where the wrath of children of disobedience, where the wrath is going to come, is walking according to the gods of this world, man. They have the spirit of this world on them, in which ye also walked some time when ye lived in them. So we all walked like that. So that's why we can tell you, yo, when you going off, man. We've all been corrected. We all needed that correction. All right. It says, but now ye also put off all these: anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth. Lie not one to another. It's saying these same things again. Seeing that ye have put off the old man with his deeds, and have put on a new man, which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him. So remember, we received the breath of life. Let us make man in our image. That's that. You know, we ain't like these other people, man. Children of men. All right. We sons of God, man. Being a son of God comes with certain standards. We're royal people, you know. So your behaviors have to change. Holiness, being separate, is not even optional, man. It's an evidence of your transformation. Okay? And I quoted it, so I might as well I keep quoting it. Romans, the 12th chapter. Romans 12:1, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. Hey, coming to camp, doing the word, teaching the flock is our reasonable service, man. That's why, yo, for real, camp is not optional. You know? Unless it's something crazy, you really can't make it. You know, which you go through the proper channels. But it's a mandatory thing, man. Yahushua said, if you love me, you feed my lambs. All right? Doing these videos is not optional. All right? Here's the point. It says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. So, again, you got to change your thinking, you know, your reactions and your priorities. It got to change, man. And another thing the Rosh Kasab was saying in that video, because I watched it, you know, The Lord chastens who he loves, man. If he don't correct you, then he don't like you. You know? But if you want to continue to not listen to the correction, then you're just going to be done away with, man. You know, so correction is a good thing, man. It's not a rejection. It's not a bad thing. All right? And you can fall in this thing. It's not about that. Again, it's about the sincerity. Are you growing? A righteous man falls 7 times, man, but he rises up again, you know? And a part of that growth, it includes that correction. But if you want to be stubborn, you want to be hard-hearted, then guess what? That leads to your destruction. All right? I think I was on 1 Corinthians. But this is 1 Corinthians 15 and 50. It says, now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of the Most High, neither does corruption inherit incorruption. So, again, this is how you know heathens can't make it. But if you want to stay in the flesh, you want to be like children of men, then you're not going to make it, man. You know? Even us, that transformation starts now, but we also going to have to be physically changed. You know, but again, it starts in that mind. All right? So you're not going to inherit the kingdom if you're doing these things in the flesh. This is Galatians 5. It says, this I say then, walk in the 5 and 16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary one to another, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led of the spirit, ye are not under the law. Now the works of the law, now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murderers, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom. Yeah, because this is one that I was saying, read that whole chapter. But if you do these things, you're not going to inherit the kingdom, man. So the Lord is not accepting the old man. So we can't accept it, you know? And if we sense that you're not trying to change, then you're just going to be out of there, you know? But the old man got to be replaced. Either you going to do it, or you going to, you know, brothers got to, you going to remove the old man, or brothers got to remove that old man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. The goal is, it ain't just the knowledge, man. It's the transformation, man. The Lord has to be formed in us. Okay? And we being changed into his image, man. So, let me see. It's been kind of long, man. Yeah, I'm not going to make it too long. But, you know, in this walk, man, it requires humility. You know, you're going to get corrected. It takes discipline. All right, patience, endurance. The old personality that you got, it just can't remain untouched, man. You know, the old habits, it got to go. Scripture saying, it talks about mortifying your members, man. All right. You got to deny yourself, man. The old man, he wants that comfort. But the new man, he's going to choose to be obedient, right? The old man is going to have excuses for everything, man. But guess what? The new man is going to accept the correction, man. Because guess what? Brothers is trying to tell you something that's for your life, man. You playing with your salvation. All right? So, the old man is not going to be tolerated, man. He must be crucified so that the new man may live, man. So, you know, I'm going to end it on that, Lord's willing. That was edifying. To the next one, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakakodash. Next one, I want to say shalom.